Welcome to this session. My name is Barbara Bochalia. We are continuing from where we stopped in our previous class, where we are looking at training and development, right? So we are looking at the laws of learning, and we had looked at the law of intensity, where we saw that the law of intensity means that the trainer, of course, the more the trainer uses different means, different delivery modes, the more it will be easier for the students to learn or for the trainees to learn, right? For example, the trainer could use classroom instruction, could use slides, could use charts, could use courseware, providing courseware that is relevant for that particular training, providing video tapes or video recordings, right? So all those ones, demonstrations, skits, yeah, where the students are made to do skits, yeah, about a particular topic, and that one actually helps them to grasp the concept more. So that is also a law of learning, which is the law of intensity. Then we have the law of recency, and according to this law, it is believed that whatever that the trainer shares last is grasped more. Yeah, there is that saying that he who laughs last laughs best. So according to this law of recency, what the trainer shares lastly as the last remark is what the trainee will grasp most important. So according to this law, it's very important, of course, other things being equal. According to this law of recency, it means that the trainer has to stress some key elements which he or she thinks are important for these students or for the trainees, and also to give a good summary of whatever that is being, or a good summary of the content that is being delivered, that should be delivered to this particular class or to these trainees, right? And also, if the trainer repeats himself or herself about some information that he or she thinks is relevant to the participants, then that one helps them to learn more. That's the law of recency. All right, so let us look at some of the factors that affect the trainees' learning. Much as these employees, these trainees are being, the organizations are training them, there are factors that can affect their learning, right? So it's not automatic that when you train them, it is going to be automatic that they will automatically grasp the skills, the knowledge, and the attitudes. No, they may be also facing some challenges. For example, someone is going through a family situations that it's not easy, right? Maybe the children have been chased home. They've been chased from school because of lack of school fees, right? The landlord is demanding money and the money is not there. So such situations can affect the trainees' learning during this training. Some of them are personal problems that cannot be exposed to the employees and your bosses. So you're being stressed up, you have stress of different personal problems, and they are training you. You may not gain the required skills because you're already stressed up. Then your relationship between the training program and the personal objective. So you may find that the program is not even in line with your department or in line with your career growth, and you may not find it relevant. So at the end of the day, you will not you may not buy the training. You may not buy the idea of the training because you don't like it. Level of self-esteem. Some employees may not have the self-esteem. They do not believe, they don't have confidence in themselves, right? So at the end of the day, even if they are trained, as long as they don't have the self-esteem, they will not be able to portray those skills in an organization. Then benefits expected from the training. This comes especially when these trainees, these employees that are being trained are not, do not really see the benefit, the positive outcome from this training. So at the end of the day, they will not buy, they may not buy the idea. Yes, you will train them, but they will not learn, because you must have the willingness to learn, right? Learning style of the trainee. So you may find that this trainee, like we've already seen the laws of learning, if they are not willing to learn, then even if you train them 1,000 times, you may not get the positive outcomes as an organization. Then the KSA, knowledge, skill, and attitude of the trainee. The attitude of the trainee is very important. And before we are going to realize that before you even train these employees, you must know the level of knowledge and skill. For example, it could be a training that requires someone with a bachelor's degree, but now for you just take the person who has who maybe is a secondary school graduate, and you are training them material that is supposed to be for someone with a bachelor's degree. So you must also look at that while you're doing the training, previous training experiences. This person that you're training, as these employees, have they been trained before in this particular area? So you should also consider that. So if, for example, they've not been trained before, and even their level of education is not matching with the training, then you may not achieve much, you as a trainer, and finally you as the organization organizing the training, desire for professional growth and development. Of course, we've already seen that this training can be an individual objective, whereby the organization aims at helping these employees for career growth and career development, developing their careers. But if this person, this employee, who is to be trained, does not believe so much in developing their careers, yeah, they have what you call complacency. You've been in a position for 10 years, but you do not even feel that you should train to go to another level. Maybe you should be trained to be promoted to another level. So that complacency, where someone feels they are comfortable with the kind of position where they are, and they don't need maybe to train, maybe to be promoted. So if they do not believe in that, then the training will not really, you will not achieve much, you as the organization that is conducting or preparing the training. So let us look at some environmental factors that affect the trainees' learning, right? So those were the personal factors that may affect these factors that affect the personal factors that affect the trainees' learning. Those were personal factors that we've just looked at. Let us also look at the environmental factors that affect the trainees' learning. Their relationship with the colleagues and subordinates. You know, even organizations have politics, what we call job politics, where people are loggerheading, everyone wants to be the boss. You've seen, you're working in organizations, some of you, and you've seen that job politics. So the job politics might also affect the training. Someone is like, if so and so is trained, is being trained for this, then they will become my boss. That kind of what I call nonsensical kind of reasoning. So relationship between colleagues and subordinates affects the outcome of the training. Then training team, how is the training team like? Does it have the training people, right? The people that are part of that training team, do they have the relevant skills that they are imparting? Are they experienced in that field where they are going to train? So that one also matters. Then training objective, of course, the training comes, has a reason. What we've seen, objectives of training, we've seen their individual training, individual objectives of training, organization objectives, function objectives, and then lastly, societal training objectives, yeah? So it could be maybe that it is an organization objective, where the organization maybe is training to make sure that at the end of the day, there is improvement in the quality of products and quality of services that are being offered to the customers, right? So are those training team having those skills? And is it in line with that at the end of the day, after they've trained you, you will require those skills, you will achieve those skills? Then content of training, of course, with this training, it has to be, these trainers have to organize the kind of content they're going to deliver, of course, in line with what the training is about. It could be that they are training you maybe to use a statistical software, computer software, that is going to be managed by an organization that will manage the functions of an organization, right? So of course, people have to be with the IT skills in that area. Then training design, right? Methods, techniques, and strategies. We've looked at the laws of learning, that the delivery mode that these trainers are using also has a lot to do with determining whether the trainees will learn or not, right? Right. Then composition of training group, right? What is the training group made up of? Of course, it must have that that blended kind of, it should be blended with people that have the skills, of course, that are in line with what the training is about. Of course, they should be qualified trainers, people that are experienced and they qualified with the credentials and experience, yeah, in that area. Infrastructure, of course, this training as it's taking place, you cannot you cannot put people in one room for the whole day in the names of training, under the umbrella of training, and then you're training them on empty stomachs. That one will not work. So you, as an organization who is preparing and organizing the training, you should cater for the stomach, should cater for people's lunch, maybe the tea and the coffee and the breaks. Otherwise, if you're just training them on hungry stomachs, you may not come up with positive results. Are we together? So you look at the infrastructure, much as you're training these people, you have to make sure that you're feeding them. You're not going to keep them in one room the whole day hungry in the names of training. That one will not bring positive feedback. They will not learn. Probably you can do it for the first day, the second day they will not come back, right? Then that was environmental factors. Of course, these factors within the organizations. the environment within the organization that is stimulating these trainees to be able to learn, right? So after the organization has gotten to know the gaps that require where the training is required, then we have what we call the execution of training. Of course, with the execution is when the actual training is being put into practice, and the implementation can be segregated into the practical administrative arrangements, where the management, for example, management is organizing, for example, the venue where the training is going to be. How are these people going to be fed during the training, right? How are the trainers going to be paid? How much are they going to be paid? Then also the actual conducting of the training. For example, organizing the required equipment, the required equipment and of course the material that should be used during the training. So what is the role of the trainer? Like we've already seen that it is multifaceted. It is multifaceted. It requires the trainer to do his or her job, and also the trainees to do their job, for us to have positive outcomes of this training. So what is the role of the trainer? What is the role of the trainer in this whole thing of a training activity, right? So number one is that the trainer has to be aware of his team's skills, like we've already seen that how well skilled or experienced these trainers are will have a lot to do with determining. It will have a lot to do with determining. It is actually an environmental factor that affects the learners or the training that you've looked at. So there's the skills of the trainers, the experience has a lot to do with determining the outcome of the training. So you must actually, you as an organization, you must get the required team, the required experienced team to be able to do the training. Of course, in line with what the requirements, where the gap is in your organization. The trainer should be able to investigate what the training opportunities are in the industry, right? So for example, if it is the telecommunication industry, where we require a lot of technical skills being known, technology, basically, even any other industry that requires technical skills, look at what kind of technical skills are trending, if I can use that word. What kind of technical skills are trending within that period, within this season, right? So the training, for example, with this season where the world is grappling with I think some of the countries are still grappling. Of course, they've had negative economic effects of the pandemic, of the COVID-19 pandemic. So you as a trainer, you should ask yourself, where are the opportunities for training the maybe it could be the telecommunication industry, the this industry of education, yeah? Where should that training be? Maybe the training is now training people on how to use virtual, maybe on virtual, how to use the virtual environment in terms of business, in terms of learning. They should have those skills, all right? So the training should be actually right now, apparently, is geared towards people getting skills on how to use the internet, how to work online, how to work remotely, how to study online. So you look at what is trending, right? You don't just train because you want to get money, you want to be paid. No, look at the areas that are competitive or that are trending in that particular kind of industry. It could be maybe the industry of hospitality and whatever. maybe tourism. Look at what skills are required, right? I hope that is clear up to that level. Then also, this trainer should also be able to request to talk to the employees about the training. Talk to them and let them be willing to accept the training. Don't just force them to be trained. No, talk to them about the training. Talk to them on why they need this training, why they need these skills. And once they accept, of course, even that one will be a good attitude towards the training. Once they accept, of course, that they will have the willingness to learn, that we've already seen in the laws of learning. Then also, as a trainer, trainer should develop training benchmarks, right? To develop training benchmarks. Of course, as you're training these people, look at their level of education before you even begin to train them in that particular kind of maybe course that you want to take them through to help them gain some skills and knowledge, right? So you have to look at their education levels, yeah? So that is setting benchmarks before you even go ahead to start the training. Then this training also, at the end of the training, should be able to get feedback from the trainees. After you've trained these employees, for example, ask them, has the training been, have they gained anything from the training? Have they gained the relevant skills? So this probably could be, you could use questionnaires where these trainees are filling in what they've gained, the kind of skills they've gained, whether it has been profitable, whether it has been profitable or not. And then from there, you will know, you'll be able to evaluate and know whether this training has been constructive or not. So you have to get feedback from these people. This feedback could either be a face-to-face meeting with these trainees and asking them whether the training has been okay, right? Whether they've achieved, they've learned anything from this training, have they liked it? So at the end of the day, you should get feedback from them as a trainer. Then you as a trainer, you should review, right? At the beginning of the program, you should review the agenda. The agenda is, of course, you as a trainer, you should, and the person, the organization organizing the training, you should review the agenda. The agenda is basically what is going to be to take place in this training. What is going to be the activities actually that are going to be involved in this training. The agenda could be that you're looking at the training activities. What are you going to train these employees on? Which areas? Maybe it could be use computer-based training that they are learning how to use learning some skills on how to use computers. And then look at the schedule. The schedule is basically the timetable. The training maybe is going to last for a week from this date to this date, at this time, setting up the group norms, right? We should be maybe punctual and so on. And then housekeeping arrangements. How are these rooms where the training is going to be conducted, going to be organized, going to be swept, right? How are these people going, the trainees and the trainers, going to be fed? Then the flow of the program, of course, in order of the activities, and then handling problematic situations that may arise. So you as the trainer and as an organization organizing the training, you should also review the training agenda. So training has to also be looked at as a tool, right? It should be a tool. It should be part and parcel of organizations, right? Organizations should do it because it is part of them and it determines the outcome, the performance outcomes of an organization. All right, so let's look at the effect of new technologies for the mode of training delivery, right? So in other words, the question is, how are the changing technologies going to affect the delivery, the training, the mode of delivery of the trainings in organization? So with the ever changing technology, we are going to realize that the training, the demand for training is going to be more of virtual work arrangements, and we are already seeing this as a result, as a consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic, right? Where we see that this situation of the pandemic has actually now people are resorting to virtual work environments where we are studying virtually, we are studying online, people are operating businesses online, right? Because technology now is coming in because people basically want to reduce on the spread of the COVID, the virus, the coronavirus, right? So with the ever-changing technologies and even the situations in place, the training is actually now going to be focused towards or in line with the people now being trained on skills on how to use the virtual environment, how to operate online, right? Then also with the ever-changing new technologies coming in, the training now is emphasizing on capture and storage of use of intellectual capital increasing. In other words, companies are using they are using their data, right? What you call big data. They are using their data to use that. They use that data for basically, for example, business intelligence, right? To business intelligence, where they're able to analyze and they manipulate that data to come up with to study business intelligence and be able to devise solutions for their organizations. So that is as a result of the new technologies coming in. So training is now focused or is in along those lines, right? So organizations are training their employees on how to use, for example, big data, how to use business intelligence skills, right? To be able to solve business problems. That is because of the ever new technology that is coming in. Then also companies are now will rely on learning management, learning management systems and integration with business processes. So basically here, for example, we can look at the ERP, right? Enterprise resource planning, those systems, ERP systems, which integrate the businesses. For example, they can integrate accounts department, integrate it with, for example, here we can integrate the e-learning, we integrate it with the accounts department, we integrate it with the human resource department. All departments can be integrated using those, their code management systems, right? So that comes in because of the new technologies that are arising, right? And then also these technologies also will allow trainers to build on training many of the desirable features of the learning environment. So the training actually, the technologies, the training now is being done with the help of technology. It's no longer the other ordinary training where people are physically sat in a room and being told to learn ABCD. No, it is now training using technology and using different technological softwares. So this training will also will be able to allow to allow training to be delivered to contingent decentralized employees in a timely and effective manner. Of course, in an effective manner. Of course, if we are using technology to train, for example, we are going to look at the different modes of training, right? Different modes of training, where we are going to see that sometimes it's even online training, online courses, online short courses, where these employees are told to register for those online courses. Of course, their organization will pay for them, but at the end of the day, they have to study and they get certificates, for example, right? So all that is technology. Then virtual work environment, we've already talked about that people are being trained. Organizations are training their employees on how to have skills that help them to work with the virtual arrangements, with the virtual environments. And there with that, working with the virtual environment, they'll also be able to conduct business, to work remotely. Working remotely is your home, but you're doing work at your work. What you would be doing at your workplace when you are physically there, you can do it from home using the internet. That is working remotely. So all that will be happening because of technology, and basically because organizations are training, they are looking out for those skills, for their employees to have those skills on how to use technology, for example, to work remotely. And then also with the technology, technology that is being used with the organizations training their employees on how to get these skills to work virtually, this will basically lead to employees having limited contact with their peers. For example, you're home, you're doing work that you're supposed to do at your workplace, but you're doing it online, so you're literally not interacting physically with your workmates, right? But now you'll be able to communicate electronically. Of course, we are looking at it in the perspective of the ever new technologies that are coming in when organizations are training their workers to have those skills of learning to work in the virtual environment. Then this training, as these organizations are organizing all these trainings and development, they must have a training and development policy. And with the training and development policy, in brief, it is just those guidelines, those principles and systems that guide the training and development. So much as the training and development is being done by these organizations, there should be policies, there should be guidelines to be able to help this training and development process to come out effectively. So let us look at training need identification. We briefly looked at that, where in order to identify the need for training, we have to look at we are in the perspective of the organization. We look at the actual performance of the organization, the deviation between the actual performance of the organization and the desired or the expected performance. If there is a gap, then it means there is need for training. There is need for training. So it can be the need for training can be looked at at an organizational analysis. What we have already seen, that here the need for training, if you're looking at it in an organizational analysis, you'll have to look at the actual performance. For example, it could be in terms of the quality of the products, right? There is a required or desired standard a desired kind of quality of products you as an organization that you need. But you find now the quality of products is not to that level. So the deviation between the quality of products that are being produced now by the organization and the quality of products that you need, that you desire to have, will bring about a gap. Are we together? Will bring about a quality gap, which quality gap will bring about the need, will give rise to the need for training. So you may need to train these workers on how, for example, to have the skills. You may find that maybe if it is cakes, the cakes are not coming out well. Some of them are burnt, some of them have sunk, right? So some of them are half baked. So you may need now to train these workers such that if they get those required skills, these cakes at the end of the day will come up with a good quality. So that is looking at the need for training at an organizational analysis. Then also, the need for training can be looked at an operational analysis. Operational analysis here, you're looking at how the employee is performing, how the employee is performing his or her tasks, right? So you may find that maybe through observation that the employee may not be performing their tasks as according to the required standards of that particular position they are filling. So of course, there at the end of the day, you will know that there is a gap. This employee needs, the way he's doing is performing his tasks is not according to the expectation. So of course, there it will lead to a rising of a need to train that employee. That is looking at a need for training at operational analysis. All right. Then individual analysis. Individual analysis can be in form of course, as a human resource manager, you have all the details of these employees, yeah? So you may find that this employee is filling a position, but they don't have the rightful skills, the rightful competence profile. They don't have the academic credentials or qualifications that are suiting the position they are in. So of course, that one will pose a gap. That one will pose a gap, and therefore that employee will need to be trained. Maybe they may need to go back and get to upgrade their education to be able to fit for that kind of position that you want them to fill. So that is identifying the need for training at an individual analysis. Some of us are being sponsored by our employers to do these courses, isn't it? That is identifying a need for training at an individual analysis. So let us look at training methods. These training methods can be divided into two categories. There is what we call methods that are primarily informational or transmittal in nature. So with the methods, training methods that are informational or transmittal in nature, here basically the trainers are communicating to the trainees in terms of, for example, lectures, right? The trainers will be conducting the training by using a lecture. Okay, I know when we talk about a lecture, what comes, the very first thing that comes into our mind is what is happening right now, where we are having a lecture, isn't it? We are having a class, yeah? But a lecture means, a general meaning of a lecture is that the person training is could for example be talking maybe in a hall or even virtually, like it's happening here, talking to the audience and passing over information, required information for these trainees or for these students, right? That is a lecture, right? And then also it can also be this informational or transmittal method of training, can also be a audiovisual, where, for example, someone is listening to a video, right? Someone is listening to a video, someone is watching a film, right? That is, of course, at the end of the day, the essence of all this is for the person learning, the trainee, to be able to learn something, to get a message, a take-home message from what is being taught, from what is being delivered, such that they gain the required skills. It can even be a study, an independent study, where the trainees are told to go and read about some maybe appropriate material to be able to enhance themselves with the required knowledge and skills. It could also be programmed instructions, whereby they're supposed maybe to study maybe a short course, short course, right? That kind of thing. Then also another training method is the second training method is what we call experiential training method. Here, basically, it is a practical in nature, where, for example, we have computer-based training, where people are learning skills that are hands-on, right? I should call it hands-on skills, where, for example, someone is being trained on how to use a computer, right? Being trained on how to use a computer, how to use a particular computer software. That is what we call experiential training method. Experiential training method. So let us see the methods of training. One of them is orientation. Orientations. I think when we talk about orientations here, we are assuming now that maybe someone is new, right? Newcomers, someone is a newcomer, new employee at the workplace. Orientation is basically to get them, to provide them with the information about the company. This could be face-to-face, where they are meeting physical workers, workmates at the workplace. They are being toured around the organization in different offices. They are given employee handbooks to read about more information about the organization. They are given lectures. They are meeting with their supervisors to basically give them information about the organization. That is what we call orientation. The second method of training is lectures. Now, we've already seen that a lecture is a lecture. We've already seen what we mean by a lecture, right? Here, the trainer is presenting information to the trainees, an audience of people, but it also has some challenges. It has some drawbacks or difficulties, whereby whereby it may not be, especially when it's a big audience that is being trained, the trainees may not have a chance to ask questions and to interact with the lecturer, to interact with the person conducting the lecture, although it's not the same way that is happening here in this virtual class. Here, I am giving you an opportunity to ask questions, right? Here, we are giving you opportunity here. It is not like it's not interactive, no. Here you have an opportunity in case there is anything you don't understand, you raise up your hand and ask. But now for this, where, of course, here we are looking at it in the perspective of training these employees for an organization, right? Whereby this, it may be physical, passing, it can even be online, yeah? Because we are in the online era where people are using Zoom and so on. So you may find that some people may even be shy to do what? To ask questions in that big audience, right? So that is a drawback with these lectures, that in most cases, they are a one-way communication. But that is not happening here in this virtual class of ours. So we've seen lectures, we've seen orientations, we have seen lectures, those are methods of training. Then we have case study method. With the case study method, here the trainer will provide a case study, right? A case study is a scenario that has already happened in real life, a scenario that has already happened in real life, but we are using it, the instructor uses it for the students to be able to use it to solve, to get solutions to a particular problem, right? For example, it could be that maybe you are training these workers on how maybe to prepare maybe a project proposal. You're training them to do what? To prepare a project proposal, right? So you may get a project proposal maybe that was prepared maybe by organization, yeah? You get that project proposal and you use it as a case study such that they can be able to learn and be able to learn and know how a project proposal is being prepared. That is using case study method. It could even be a situation whereby maybe a company was going through a certain situation and how they faced, how they were able to solve that situation. And then they'll also use it to think alongside those lines to come up with solution. All right. So that is case study method. Even here in the real, here in career education here, we use case studies, right? We can use a case study, for example, when we are setting questions there, and it is in form of a case study, but at the end of the day, I ask you, according to what you've learned, what do you think would be done in this particular kind of scenario? For example, here it's going to basically be a case study, right? There is nothing like, what is this? What is human resource management? That business of going to Mr. Google, you copy and paste and paste for me, it's not going to work. So as you're reading your material, understand, number one, and also be able to apply the knowledge. Be able to apply the knowledge, because it's going to be in case study kind of setting. There is nothing like copying and pasting that is going to happen. You have to think, right? So case study, think along those lines. That is also a way of training, right? It's a method of training. Then we have role playing. So role playing here, for example, the students or the trainees are given roles, yeah? And everyone plays a scenario. It could be about, Of course, a scenario, they play a scenario on the topic that they are learning, right? For example, here in this human resource management class, I may tell you to maybe to play a role, to act out something if it was physical, right? So we get some scenario, this is happening, and you act it out. And at the end of the day, it helps you to actually grasp the concept more, right? Role playing. So it could even be that maybe I've given you a coursework, but in that coursework, everyone is supposed to, maybe there are a number of questions, but everyone is going to handle a particular question and present it. That is role playing. So it helps you to grasp the concept more, but it's also one form of training. It's one method of training. Then we have simulations. Simulations. They are called games and simulations. These are structured competitions, right? Structured competitions whereby operation models are used to emulate real life scenarios. So it could be a competition, for example, where I give you a competition like that coursework I've given you, and I'm like, someone who, for example, I could put it that, for example, someone who makes the best presentation and the best, who presents the best work, it will have to be uploaded. It will have to be uploaded on the platform for others to use it as course material, right? And actually, that's what I'm going to do. The best work in that coursework is going to be uploaded on the platform as course material. Why? Because I'm not just giving it as coursework, but at the end of the day, it might be examinable. I don't know if it will be examined or not, but it may come back to you, right? So that coursework you're doing, do it when you know that it might be examined or it might not. So that's what we call games and simulation. They are basically competitions among that the trainees or the students are made to compete in what they are doing. Of course, when you compete, you as a student or as a trainee, you aim at producing the best work, isn't it? Which of course makes you to even research more and learn more about that topic. Then we have computer-based training, CBT. Well, we've already looked at that, right? We've already looked at that, where with the computer-based training, for example, it's hands-on basically. Maybe you're learning how to use the computer, you're learning how to use the particular software with the computer. So, right, that is computer-based training. Then we have web-based training. There is a difference between those two. Web-based training here, for example, it could be that your organization is sponsoring you for an online course, an online short course, right? So that will be web-based training. Of course, at the end of the day, after you have studied, you will be awarded a certificate, for example, on finishing that that web-based training, WBT. Then it could even be maybe an online short course in human resource management. Supposing maybe you are in that position in your organization, but probably your employer has sponsored you self-instruction. Self-instruction is, for example, your organization tells you that they require someone with these particular skills to fill a position, right? So for you, you will just go and begin to research. Maybe they require someone who knows how to use this software, this software package, computer software package. So for you as an employee, you go and research for yourself, get the required resources, the record the videos, about how to use that particular software. And at the end of the day, when you do it yourself, you'll be able to learn. By the way, you will learn, and at the end of the day, you know how to use it, and you'll be able to gain those skills, and you may end up filling that position at your workplace. So that is what we call self-instruction, audio-visual training. So audio-visual training, we've already looked at that, whereby, for example, the trainers are using videos, films, televisions, right? To be able to, it could be that you're watching a film, right? You're made to watch, your trainers make you to watch a film, video tapes, right? But at the end of the day, you are able to draw out insights about what happens in the real world and be able to apply those skills, right? Then team building exercises. With the team building exercises here, as a group of workers in an organization, you'll have to organize yourselves, and then probably bring in a consultant to speak to you, right? To speak to you, of course, about skills that you require to need, that you require to know in your department, right? For example, it could be you're in the accounting department, they are cashiers, they are accounts assistants, and then you bring someone as a team, yeah? You bring someone to come and speak to you on a particular area where you feel there is a gap. That is team building trainings. Then apprenticeships and internship, right? Anyone who has heard about apprenticeship? Anyone who has heard about apprenticeship? Yes. All right. So with the apprenticeships, it is the on-job training, whereby a more experienced person is training someone, right? It's an on-job training where a more experienced person is training a junior person, but at the end of the day, apprenticeship is not formal, right? And then internship, I believe some of us have heard about internship, but it sounds more in the education world, where we talk about internship. So apprenticeship, they are similar but not the same. Apprenticeship is not formal, but internship is formal. So even with internship, it is the on-job training, but where a superior person or an experienced person is training a junior person. But with internship, you will have to, for example, go in class and so with internship, it is formal, right? Whereby after you've been trained by an experienced person, you'll have to go in class, as well as you are required, for example, to do an internship report at the end of it all, right? But with the apprenticeship, it is not formal. For example, if maybe someone is being trained on how to be, what is it called? They're called mechanics, right? Those people that are taught to be mechanics, repairing those vehicles that have technical faults. So those people are trained, it is on job, right? It is on job training. So that is can be an example of apprenticeship, right? But with the internship, it is also on-job training, but at the end of the day, you have to attend class and you have to prepare a formal report. So I believe now we know the difference between apprenticeship and internship. But it is also one way. It is a method of training. It is a method of training, right? Then we have job rotation. All these are methods of training. Job rotation, like the name goes, job rotation. One person, an employee is shifted from one job position to another, right? But the essence is for this person to be, for this employee to be able to gain various skills at different, various skills that are required at different levels. Are we together? For example, an employee will be taken in different departments to work there, basically to be able to gain a variety of skills from these different departments in an organization. And that is useful, that is advantageous. Why? Because if one person in one department is not around and you've been job rotated, then you have that skill, you come and fill in that position. Work will not come to a standstill because so and so did not come to work, because so and so is sick, because so and so has resigned, because so and so is on leave. Such scenarios that make a work to come to a halt or a standstill because no other person knows that skill. That is what we call, those are some of the disadvantages of specialization. With specialization, everyone will concentrate on what they can do best. And there is no need, there is no effort for people to be job rotated and learn different activities or tasks. But with the job rotation, if someone is able to be shifted in different departments and get those, learn those different skills, then it becomes very, very easy to substitute someone who is not around, and the work will not come to a standstill. Job rotation. But of course, as the person is being rotated around the different departments to learn those tasks and skills, they're also enhancing themselves. They are learning different skills. So it is also a method of training. Then counseling is also a method of training. Someone will be asking now, why? How is counseling? Like we've already seen that there are personal factors that may affect these trainers. I mean, these trainees, they may affect their learning during the training. Some of them are stressed up, they have family problems, right? They have personal stress. So if they are canceled at the workplace, then it will also do what? Enhance their learning, their attitude towards work, right? Mentoring. So I believe all of us have heard of what we call a mentor. So a mentor basically is, mentoring basically is that kind of training. It is more of a relationship, right? So, but it's that kind of training where a senior person or a senior manager will basically groom, I'll call it groom a junior person into acquiring those skills, acquiring the knowledge of what they want to be. For example, you can be mentored to be, some of you that, how can I say now? For example, if it's in this teaching field, right? And you've just finished studying, maybe you finished your master's in some kind of course, but you want to join the teaching profession, right? So you don't just wake up one morning and go to class and begin teaching or lecturing. No, you have to be mentored. Maybe you'll have to get those senior lecturers to, to teach you, this is how you do it. This is how you do ABCD. This is, to take you through, to help you gain the confidence, to help you on the delivery modes. So you will have to be mentored. So with mentorship, it's a senior person or a senior manager in an organization that is actually grooming the junior person on learning the technicalities or the skills and the knowledge that are required for that particular position, for that particular position. Mentoring is more of a relationship. A mentor can act like a father. It can be your facilitator, your supporter, like a role model, more of that, helping you actually to mature in that particular kind of field that you want to mature in, right? So that is, a mentor can be a teacher, can be your spouse, can be your counselor, basically someone who helps you to in your career growth, right? But will basically be grooming you up. So mentoring is also one form of training. All right. So this session ends here. And thank you for listening.